The Republicans had a very effective convention. President used the scene, the prop of the White House, frankly, with all of the illegalities that have been foisted upon him by the Democrats, by the leftist media and social media. The fact that he used the White House as a backdrop, the hell with it. He has to do what he has to do right now, whether or not there's a Hatch Act or not that says that you can't do that. It's not a big deal. It's form over substance. But it was an excellent convention. I only pray that the Republicans stay good to their word. They never have in the past, and I don't think that one can expect them to do it now. But perhaps the president can take the lead. But leading the White House last night was one of the biggest hypocrites in Washington, Rand Paul, frankly. Years ago, I asked him if he would join us in our suit against the NSA. He then filed one himself and claimed that he was the first to file it. But Rand Paul was attacked with his wife after he left the White House last night. The police barely could defend him. I'm not sure they even wanted to defend him in Washington, D.C. That's how bad it is with this evil mayor. And the fact is that the violence is increasing every single day. Now, what triggered this, allegedly? It was George Floyd, the death of George Floyd. The ultra-leftists and radical blacks and radicals of other persuasions, races, colors, and creeds were waiting for something to happen. They were mobilized. And I have to ask myself the question, and you should ask yourself the question too, the government, our so-called government, claims to still not know who's financing these people. How can they not know? We have an FBI, we have a CIA, we have the Director of National Intelligence. We don't know, the American people, all the facts here of what's going on. Let's hope that the president does. But the fact that this is not coming out, frankly, shows you where the government is today, that they're not representing the American people. But we just learned recently, because one of the cops that was accused of murder in the death of George Floyd, his attorney obtained the coroner's reports, medical examiner's reports of George Floyd. It turns out that George Floyd had a fatal dose of fentanyl in his system. If there's any justice at all in Minnesota, and I frankly doubt that at this point, that cop and the other cops will be acquitted of murder. They may be convicted of assault and battery, aggravated assault and battery. But it would appear that Floyd died of fentanyl because the medical examiner said that he didn't die of asphyxiation, from putting the knee on Floyd's head. He died from the drugs. And this tells you why the American people are not getting all the facts. But this was the trigger for what is now a radical leftist revolution against this country, a Bolshevik revolution. And this is a very powerful political weapon that the president is using and will use to get reelected. I now think that his chances are better than what they were last week because they did get the message out. It was a really clear message. It was a positive message in terms of what needs to be done for law and order. And of course, as I said in the last podcast, we have started a group called America's Sheriff. Sheriff Joe Arpaio and I are running that. That's independent of Freedom Watch. It'll work in conjunction, parallel with Freedom Watch. But right now, the American people need to stand up for law and order themselves. There has not been enough law enforcement, even at the federal level. The president stepped it up this week a little bit through the Justice Department and through the National Guard. That's good. He's listening to my criticism, hopefully some other people's criticism, and he's pushing forward. He now realizes this is his ticket to be reelected. And Joe Biden, of course, sits there in his basement and says nothing. He is prostrating himself. He's getting down and bending over to these radical leftists. But I got to tell you something. He bent over and the president stuck it right up his rear end during this convention. And he's feeling it today. Now, let's talk about China, however, because the president also made a point that he's tough on China. He's not tough on China. As I've said before, closing down an embassy, or rather a consulate in Houston, Texas, is not being tough. We know that the Chinese have spied on us all these many years. We spy on them too. And of course, they've done it more effectively than we've done it because we've opened our doors to Chinese scientists, communist Chinese, working in Silicon Valley. I remember a number of years ago, I was in a restaurant at the bar, and virtually everybody seemed to be from China at that time. and not everybody, but a lot of people. But we opened the door, and it's our fault. He needs to shut that door. But more importantly, the huge damage that has been done to our health and our economy needs to be addressed. The assets of the Chinese, trillions of dollars, should be frozen in American financial institutions and banks. It's your Freedom Watch that's brought a class action in Dallas, Texas, and Jerusalem, Israel, for the damage. Go to freedomwatchusa.org and see if you qualify for that. And also our criminal complaint in The Hague, Holland. Why hasn't the Attorney General, the blowhard that he is, the Puxatani Phil that he is, why hasn't he, in fact, moved against the Chinese? And I can assure you, when this case starts to go forward, China's avoiding service of process as we speak. If you can believe that, a major power will not accept service of process when it's sent to them. They have no respect for the American legal system. They look down on it. But why is it that the Attorney General is not even joining in our suit, the Justice Department? They should be doing this. But Freedom Watch has become your Justice Department. And last but not least, let's look at some of the major sports leagues: Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL. The NBA players have boycotted, at least in Milwaukee, and it's spreading, the playoffs. You know, they can boycott it. I hope they do boycott it. I hope they never go back to work, frankly, because these major sports leagues have become a major disgrace. They're anti-American. Frankly, they border on sedition. They don't respect our flag. They paint Black Lives Matter, which is a socialist, radical, anti-Semitic, anti-Christian group, black separatist group all over the courts. They don't even know what they're talking about. Same for Major League Baseball. Same for the NFL. 2 national anthems now, one for African Americans and one for the rest of us. They are doing exactly what the corporations in Hitler's Germany did, supporting these despots. Okay. And frankly, it's rising to the level of Nazi-like behavior, anarchist behavior by the radical left, and they support it. And then just yesterday, the PGA Tour golfers, very disappointing, because golf has been one of the few institutions sports-wise that's had its head screwed on in recent months. In fact, golf's going through the roof in terms of participation. It's one of the few things that you can do outdoors. But the PGA Tour also got down on its knees. And consequently, this has a big effect on the American people. And it's clear that they're supporting Joe Biden, these major leagues. I would suggest that we boycott all of them, turn them off, get out there and play sports yourself, go to the golf course, go play tennis. If you want to play basketball yourself on a court, you know, touch football, whatever you can do, but turn them off because they are anti-American. I have to say it again. They're anti-American. They're a disgrace. So that's my message for today. Listen to our radio show this week, Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. I'm going to have a very brave African-American policeman, my brother, my friend, Dimitri Penny, on. He knows what went on. He stood up to Black Lives Matter. He stood up to Farrakhan. He stood up to the new Black Panthers Party over the Dallas massacre on July 7th and 8th, 2016. He's a very courageous guy. And we need more people like Dimitri Penny out there. We have our lawsuit in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on behalf of Philadelphia cops who've been discriminated against because of their race and also because of the fact of their male. Believe it or not, the police chief Outlaw is running from process servers. Her name is Danielle Outlaw. She comes from Portland, not coincidentally. So this is what we're dealing with today. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Join our cause. Join our Justice League. Sign up to see if you qualify for our class actions. Share this podcast far and wide. You can find it at radioamerica.com, at freedomwatchusa.org, at Spotify, at Roku, at Twitter, at Parler. I call it in French, Parler, Facebook, all over the place. Share it far and wide. We, the American people, need to rise up. We cannot depend on the Republicans. They put on a good show, but don't count on them. They never have come through before, and they won't come through again unless we do it ourselves. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. And I'll be back Monday with another special podcast, a Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Listen to my weekly radio show at freedomwatchusa.org and over 55 stations throughout the United States. Thank you for listening to me.
Cars today are like computers on wheels. From electronically controlled transmissions to touchscreen displays to dozens of sensors, But all this advanced tech is expensive to fix, if and when it breaks. That's why you need CarShield. CarShield has affordable protection plans that can save you thousands for a covered repair, including computers, GPS, electronics, and more. Monthly plans are flexible with rates as low as $99 a month. You can pick your favorite mechanic or dealership to do the work, and CarShield takes care of the rest. They also offer complimentary 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car while yours is being fixed. CarShield has helped over 1 million customers. Drive with confidence knowing you got coverage from America's #1 auto protection provider. With monthly payment plans as low as $99 a month, you have nothing to lose. Call 800-CAR-6000 and mention code AUDIO, or visit carshield.com and use code AUDIO to save 10%. That's carshield.com, code AUDIO. A deductible may apply.